right, so it's 5:30, so I'll call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the May 2016 meeting. Darby sent those out last Friday. Everybody looked through them. Is there anything that needs to be changed, or did they look pretty good? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the May 2016 minutes?
I move that they be approved.
And a second? Second. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next thing with the business, just talking about the membership update. So we had a few people resigned or that were inactive that have been removed. Marcus, Rosemary, Adrian, and Greg. So we now have open positions for Military Hill, Multicultural, and Pullman High School student. So you guys know anybody in those areas that are looking to join, please let us know. In addition, looks like Bill Holman has been moved from an alternate to the delegate, and we welcome him here. Thanks. Nice to see you. Next item is the Lentil Festival. So we have the Lentil Festival, and I wrote the dates down. Let me grab that. We got a sign-in sheet to get people to work the booth out there with us. And it is Friday, August 19th. And the festival itself is going on from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Setup will be at 3 p.m. I believe that's what we did prior years. Does that sound right? That's right. Okay. So we can start setting up at 3 p.m. down there. We're just looking for volunteers to come out there and work at the booth. Last year, the main thing we did, we had these little cards that kind of had a brief description of what the police advisory thing was, and we just tried to hand out as many of those as we could. We'll have those cards again this year. So I'll pass this around. If you guys, anytime you're available that day, please do. I think I'll probably plan on being out there most of the day, and I think Corey should be able to be out there too. At least last year she was. But we're definitely love to get more help out there.
And I'm always gone that weekend, so
Okay.
I will never participate, and I apologize.
No, that's all right. Pass the pen around too if they need it. So at the booth last year we had the cards. Sounds like we're going to have those cards again to hand out. We also got this blackboard over there that we put up on a table. Do we want to pull that out so everybody can look at it and see if we want to make any changes on that? So this is what we had displayed on the table last year. Now we do have some people walking into the booth and looking at that. Most people we talked to just kind of outside of the booth as they walked by. So it's a good thing to just have up-to-date stuff. And if there's anything you think we should put on there, let's talk about it, and we can get some stuff printed up and put up there. I know Darby mentioned good idea on the table, maybe having some applications to join the police advisory committee.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I would say if there's any concerted pieces related to the community as far as outreach, I know the climate around police and whatnot is a little tense at the moment, and if there were anything that were to help sort of like roll out the red carpet or provide some level of customer service for how to access reach. I know there's a lot there for emergency, a lot there for other safety pieces, but maybe along with the compassion, professionalism, there's something else that we can put out there that really lends the open air.
Maybe we dedicate that last panel to something what the police department does with the community, how they interact, and different events are done. Is that what you're?
I think so. Just something to help show something other than how to stay safe, which is really important, but also how to interact with us appropriately or in ways that they can deliver any messages or concerns about anything. But providing a level of transparency, a level of openness. I think this is a great community event, one of the biggest ones that we have here in Pullman. So maybe that there's something there that we can do that's targeted to that effort specifically.
I think that's a good idea. Chief, do you have information you could put up there, or Darby? You guys know?
Yeah, we could put some information on this, include some photos of officers with the public and different outreach things that we do and different events like reading at the library and those types of things. Sure.
Maybe something about DARE even.
Yeah.
DARE.
Is that still a thing? I thought I heard somewhere that maybe that'd be getting replaced with a different national program or something more.
DARE actually was revamped a few years ago, and so it's still alive and well.
Okay.
Maybe it's going strong at
Cool.
Pullman School District. Yeah, and that's actually to the point, you know, and we don't know.
Yeah.
People don't hear about it very much. Fifth grade parents do.
Yeah, unless you got kids in there, you really don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's a good and positive, impactful program.
Yeah.
Darby, did you say you looked this over and you saw a couple things that looked
Yeah, there's just,
outdated?
I mean, like, there's one that shows current vacancies on
Okay.
the committee, which isn't right. And the one that talks about police reserves recruitment starting summer of 15 or something like that.
Okay.
So some of those
Do you have
little
those
things.
templates?
I know I have the police advisory one, and I think Arlene might have just
Arlene did.
made the reserves one, yeah. But I can
We can
make
just
whatever we
recreate
need.
that,
Yeah.
Okay.
To follow up to what Berta was talking about, I was brainstorming here, wondering if how the police could highlight what they're doing to foster those community relations with diversity. And so I wondered, for example, I don't even know what the Pullman police go through in terms of diversity training, whatever you want to call it. That might be interesting to know. Great support and comments from the recent peaceful protest, and that would be really neat to feature. There's some great photos from that, and so that could be also a demonstration of, look at our connection with the community.
Yeah.
We got some really positive feedback from that. But the
Good.
police were very supportive of that process, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's just a goodwill panel of all the things and ways you can connect and provide feedback. I mean, 4th of July, the presence there was really good too, and I know that's a big community touch point.
Yeah, I think when you watch the news, that's the big thing everybody's talking about right now is police and community involvement and just everything that's been going on in the news lately. I think that's an important thing to have up there.
Yeah.
So very, very much a time issue.
Did you get any pictures from the 4th of July?
I don't think anybody
There's
gave me
some,
any this year.
yeah, there's a whole video on Facebook,
Oh, is there?
and so you could clip from that.
Where
And I took some pictures too, so I can.
Okay. Yeah.
posted to their Facebook.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah.
How do we want to put together that panel?
Yeah.
So last year we didn't do this. The prior years we had a separate meeting get together. Just a few of us kind of met and put it together. But last year I don't think we did that.
We didn't have to.
I think we just brought the stuff out there, and I think Darby had a couple things for us to hang up, and we put them up, and we were able to take care of it there in the time. I think that worked out great. I think we could probably do that again.
Yeah, and I think between Darby and I, we can put the items that you mentioned on that panel, and you guys
And
can.
even if you print them off, we can put them up when we're setting up the booth or out at the booth. So
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I guess just let us know what input you need from us and how we can help you all to get the content to arrange that.
Well, and if you do have any pictures or ideas,
Yeah.
just send them to Darby,
Okay.
and we'll.
And then I think we need to think about, like, if we want a tag with it, like compassion and professionalism, do we want a tag that would be like fostering community or some, whatever, I don't know what that would be. And is there a language or a tag that the university is already using? With police relations, I don't know.
Yeah, I
you
don't
know,
know.
I liked seeing on the Facebook wall a few times the hashtag Pullman Proud. Is that what you've been using? Maybe you
Oh.
can put that up there. That's kind of something.
That's nice. Yeah, yeah.
Could be nice to explain what that means. Like being Pullman proud. Like, yeah, what do you?
Go
what
Greyhounds.
Yeah, like what is it to be Pullman proud? And maybe that's like some like standards for excellence in citizenship or
That's
something like
right,
that.
right.
But maybe like some pillars or some values that really exemplify what it is to be Pullman proud, because you can be Pullman proud in a lot of ways. But what ways do we mean it? That way, it almost is like sort of like the drum we march to as we do the work that we do and maintain these values and keep them present to make sure that the community knows that they're present as well. That way, it's more than lip service. It's actually us following through on that intention.
It seems to me what we'd be talking about with that is proud of our police and proud of the community involvement and all that. So
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. And maybe through what actions are we proud of him for? And part of it's probably the communication and openness and being there in the times that people are facing some difficult challenges or things in their life that definitely weren't expected. But I don't know, maybe that's a part of the messaging that we flesh out between now and Lentil Festival. But just ideas. I just have ideas, so whatever happens, it'll work.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about with the Lentil Festival? Who here made it down to the booth last year? Okay.
Oh, just going, I didn't
Walking
work the
back.
booth, but
Okay.
I shook some hands. We didn't actually have a school district booth last year, and that may happen again this year. And if so, then I would be available for that.
Okay. Did you two have any critiques? Anything you felt went well last year? Anything you wanted to change? That was a year ago. It's hard to remember back then.
I know that instead of hanging out at the booth last year that I had done the previous 2 years, I just ran all around the fest with the cards
Okay.
and with my police advisory shirt. Hi, I'm Marcy, and just gave a little blip and ran on to the next person.
I know when Corey and I were there, and I think we closed up. We were there for the last couple hours. We would we're just try to hand out as many of the cards as we could, and we're giving with a little piece of candy too. And everybody would take the candy and the card, and they'd hand the candy to the kids, and the parents would start looking at the card and put it in their pocket. So I don't know if we got any response out of that, but we got a lot of
2 years
cards
ago,
out.
was it when we first featured the how you can specify what geographical area you want to be alerted for emergencies? Didn't we kind of feature that at the booth 2 years
Yeah.
ago?
Right.
Is there anything new like that to let residents know about?
There is something new, and so I'll have that as part of my update. So there are a couple of things that
Okay.
we can pass along.
Okay, that could be something to hand out. Yeah. Because that engaged parents.
Now, do we have another meeting before? Yeah, we do. We have one more meeting, so we can kind of
Okay.
work out the final details and everything at
One
that
of-
meeting.
One other thing I just threw out, and we'll see what Chief says, but in his update, but in terms of emergency notification, if there's any reason you wanted like a card or something that had all the information on a business card or something, if someone was interested, here it is, and I don't just throwing something out, so.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like a card, they have more information on it to sign.
Well, even just like a business card, say go here, whatever, how to sign, but very briefly where you sign out, because that way you'd meet someone, you'd say, oh, there's this emergency notification, don't give them anything, and they have to then, whenever they get back home, get around to thinking of it a few days later or a week later, then they have to come up with themselves like, oh, where was that, If there was something you could give them, I don't know, it's just, then they'd have a card in hand that.
Did you get the thing that came out in the Pullman disposal or the city water bill? Did you guys see that? The emergency light?
Yeah, I presume, but I don't handle any of those stuff.
All right. Any more discussion on the Lentil Festival?
Does everyone have a shirt?
I don't have a shirt. I didn't know we had shirts.
I don't even know where to begin.
I'm not the oldest member here. Where's Barbara? Where's Phyllis?
No, I was here when we got the shirts 2 years ago. Last year, we didn't do shirts for anybody, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
We just, if we had shirts, we wore them. If we didn't, we
Okay.
didn't.
Okay.
How many people do have shirts? Just two of you? I want to redo the shirts, and I want to put our logo, which is the badge patch logo, I want to put those on there. And so I think what we'll do is we'll reissue new shirts. So
I don't like the shirts, so that's good. So.
Mine doesn't fit right.
It's a T-shirt. I think maybe a collared, like a dress shirt would be better.
polo shirt or something like that.
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
button-up shirt.
And then just a giant logo on the front. And just a little small logo, I think, would be better.
Okay, well, let's work on new design.
Gardner with a
Did
badge.
you already contact Mr. Miller?
Yeah, he said they have to do them in quantities of 12, so he said he could give me a quote for
So
12, 24,
let's
36.
revise that. So what kind of shirt do we want? Do you want a polo shirt? Do you want a button-up dress type shirt?
I think I think a polo really works pretty well.
Yeah.
Between events, it's casual enough to be comfortable, but it's formal enough that you feel like you're doing business in it. I think, and
Yeah.
probably wear it more than a button-up dress shirt.
I know, I'd vastly prefer that over a button-up.
Yeah, me too.
But I think it's a lot more professional than just a t-shirt.
Yeah, button up is almost too formal.
Yeah.
Whereas yeah,
But
polo
it's
shirt.
okay for women too.
I think that there are female cuts and male cuts of the similar shirts.
Yeah.
So that way the sleeves are a little shorter and the necks are different.
So I'm thinking of having it like our logo, kind of, something like this with
Yeah.
Pullman Police Advisory Committee,
Yeah.
something like that. So maybe we can get a design and send it out and see what people think, and if we want to make any changes, then we'll just get a short order in and have them ready before the Leno Festival.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll work.
Awesome.
About a color.
I think the last ones were dark blue.
Kind of the color with Phyllis's.
I liked that. I think the dark blue.
Okay.
I think it was even darker.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure out how to get that logo to stand out on there. Maybe they'll have to do like a little bit of a background behind it or something like that.
Maybe it's gray then, or it's
Yeah.
a silver. Like that way, the blue contrasts well and looks nice on it.
I mean, the shirt.
Yeah, the shirt be gray, so that blue badge pops out of it. Because blue on blue won't work.
Yeah.
like you're saying.
No,
What do you-
I think you're right.
What do you do with police, on the police uniforms, because aren't they usually black,
They're navy blue.
maybe? Do you use the silver badge on those?
Most of them don't have it.
They don't have it, they don't have a badge?
Well, yeah. Well, I guess the jumpsuits that the guys wear do have a cloth
Oh.
badge, but our other uniforms, you put a regular metal badge on.
Don't. Oh, metal, I see, okay.
Because I kind of like seems like the lighter shirts, especially when you're at something like the Leno Festival, tend to maybe get the dirtier or,
White for sure. Yeah.
or darker shirts, I think, probably last better with that regard. Why don't we get some ideas? We've been using custom thread, or college held custom threads. Why don't we ask them for some ideas on how to address that?
Okay.
And maybe it's just putting like a gray square and then put the logo on top of that, or,
Or even just an outline of the
have an
border.
outline, yeah. So
I think those are all good
we'll
ideas.
get some ideas.
We're thinking like a black or dark navy. Is that?
Or navy.
Navy, probably.
And to be honest, I don't even care about the color. It could be bright pink.
Yeah, so whatever. I'm in the same boat.
Pink it.
Whatever really works great with that. You guys come
Okay.
up with something and just kind of pass it out to all the members and.
Okay.
All right, so I guess that takes us to the police department update.
All right. Well, first, Bill, I just want to give you the opportunity, I don't think everybody here knows you. Maybe introduce yourself and what you do at the school district.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Bill Holman, and I'm now just finished my 4th year as principal of Franklin Elementary School. And I've been Dan Hornfeld's, I was explaining to Darby, I've been Dan Hornfeld's alternate for the past several years, and he's been gentle and not necessarily reminding me that he might be gone, so I wasn't. You haven't seen me very much, so. But he did let me know he was leaving as he was retiring, and so I promised to step in for him, at least for the time being, and we'll find an alternate as well for me. But I've been in the Pullman district for 12 years now. I was 8 years. I spent the first 8 years as assistant principal at Lincoln Middle School. Prior to that, I was in the Moscow district as a high school math and physics teacher for 13 years, and then the high school athletic and activities director for a couple of years. So I'm kind of loose place bound. I'm a Moscow High grad, which doesn't always sell well to Pullman people. But I'm very happy to be, have been a member of the Pullman community now for 12 years, and happy to be here to assist with this.
So is Dan bailed? Is he
Dan is
out of town or where?
Dan. Oh well, I think he's in town. His trailer was in his driveway a couple of days ago, but I think they'll be out of town a lot now. So yeah, he was looking forward to.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Bill. So we've been doing a police officer recruitment. We actually have one immediate vacancy. We have an officer that did not pass his probationary period, and so that created an additional vacancy for us. And then we have another officer who is looking to relocate on the west side of the state, so that'll be a potential second vacancy. So we had the initial part of the test is a written and physical abilities test that we perform through National Testing Network. And then the applicants that pass that portion, we have an interview panel interview them and rank them. And on that panel, Corey served on that panel representing the Police Advisory Committee. And we had Sergeant Opgenorth, Officer Engel, Code Enforcement Officer Schaefer, Joe Thornton from the school district, and Kyle Struck. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how
I
you
don't
pronounce
know
his
how you
last
say
name.
it.
Kyle, who was the assistant or the vice president of ASWSU.
Strachilla.
How do you spell it?
Strachilla.
Strachilla. Okay. And so those were held on May 20th and 21st, and then Commander Tennant and I interview the top candidates from after the interviews. And so right now we're performing background investigations on the top 2 candidates. And as soon as we complete one and the person passes, then we'll be able to send that hire that person and send them to the police academy. I attended the Washington Association Sheriffs and Police Chiefs Conference for a week in May. We also were doing a record specialist recruitment, and we ultimately hired Chelsea Fields Elder. Her first day was June 20th. And so she's in training. She'll be in training for 2 to 3 months, and then she'll be able to work on a shift on her own. So then we'll be fully staffed in records. Chelsea lives in Pullman with her husband. She had been working at American West Bank. She previously lived in Hawaii and Texas. Her husband's working on his PhD at WSU, but they want to remain in Pullman when he completes his degree. So we're hoping that she'll be a long-term employee. The city hosts a tour of city facilities every year, and this year it was June 9th, and so the police department was part of that, and so we hosted that on June 9th. I was asked to give a presentation at the TASER their first annual user conference that was mid-June in Phoenix, and so I was on a panel that talked about cloud versus on-site video storage for body-worn cameras. I attended the College Hill Association annual barbecue on June 23rd. We had the Walk for Justice this last Friday, July 15th. I was out of town, but I understand there were about 200 people that were involved. We contacted the organizers early on and offered our assistance and support, and they were very cooperative with us and were clear that they wanted to have a peaceful demonstration. And so we facilitated that, and they started the event at Beasley and then walked down to Pine Street Plaza and had some speakers there, and really the event went without incident. On that day, so where I was that day, I was actually in the west side of the state where Sergeant Jake Opgenorth received the statewide award from the American Legion. In February, American Legion presented him with a local award from the local chapter of American Legion. That was submitted with all of the other awards statewide, and Jake was selected to be the statewide recipient for the Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. And so Jake received that at their ceremony on July 15th. Some things coming up. This Wednesday, we'll be having a joint Pullman-Moscow City Council meeting. They hold a joint meeting once a year, so that's this week. On Thursday, July 28th, Washington State University is hosting an emergency management animal sheltering tabletop exercise where they will work out logistics of handling pets and other animals in the area in the event of an emergency. And so our code enforcement people will be participating in that, as well as the Whitman County Humane Society. On August 3rd, I'll be going to Olympia. There was a bill passed by the state legislature this year on body-worn cameras that regulated the release of information and release of videos to the public. And along with that bill, part of it was to create a statewide task force to come up with recommendations to the governor about potential additional legislation or maintaining the legislation that was passed. And so there were 4 chiefs in the state that were selected to be on the panel that had already implemented body-worn cameras, and so I was one of those chiefs to be selected, and so I'll be serving on that task force. Some follow-up on the constituency poll from last meeting. Eric, I think you had reported a sign, no parking sign that was bent over on Orchard, and I believe that should have been fixed by now.
Yep, that's
Okay.
done. That was nice.
So the items that I said I wanted to report that we can provide information on, we're going to issue a press release tomorrow on a phone app for Pullman PD. And it just went live today. And it's called My PD. And so it will give us the ability to push out messages to anyone that has the app. And on the app, people can choose to be anonymous or they can fill out profile information. It's completely up to them. So it allows people to sign up and be completely anonymous and still receive information from us. And there's some different interactive features of that, such as reporting a crime, providing crime tips, not a crime in progress, but tips to crimes that have occurred. They can send correspondence to me or the records manager or the operations commander or the detective supervisor. We can send pictures out and information. And what else, Darby?
They can commend an officer or the department on there. And then there's links to all kinds of information about victim services and domestic violence and all kinds of things. And like the Can You ID Me website, you can link right from there. And a sex offender registry, all those things are one click and they pop up on your phone.
And you can even look at the latest tweets that we've sent out and a link to our Facebook page. So it's just another avenue to communicate with the public. And so if you want to take a look at it, it's up and running. It works on iPhone and Android. If you just look for MYPD, MyPD, and then when you install it, you go through to select your agency. It starts with U.S. or Canada, and then you pick by state. And in Washington, we're the only law enforcement agency right now that's using it. So you can download it, and then when you get to your profile, it gives you an option just to completely skip that if you want, and you're ready to go. Or you can fill out the profile if you choose to.
Can we get something typed up about that for the? This sounds like a great thing to push.
Yeah. So, and there's one other thing that we're going to be doing, and we'll probably send something out on this next week. It's called nextdoor.com, and it's kind of like an online neighborhood watch. Marcy, you've seen it before?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's really not controlled or run by us. It's something that people already belong to, and they can converse with people in their neighborhood or whatever geographical area they want about things going on in their neighborhood, and whether it's crime related or whether they want to have a potluck or whether there's something going on at the school. So, but we're able to join it and pick geographical areas to correspond and provide information. So if we know that there's some kind of a problem going on in a certain neighborhood, we can target that area, or we can send it out citywide. We're still finalizing the setup on that, and I'm hoping to get everything ready to go and send out a press release next week on that. And again, it's just another way to get us involved into communicating with the public.
Do you have a number by any chance of how many people in Pullman are signed up for Nextdoor?
Do you know?
I don't know. I'm not sure if there's people already on there.
There are people on there.
No, I'm on there.
Oh, are you?
I don't ever
I
do
don't-
anything on it, but I'm on there. I get emails a couple times a week
Yeah,
about
that
it.
somebody else has
And that's-
joined and that
Yeah,
type of thing.
yep.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's the type of thing that people can be as active or inactive as they choose to. But it's just another avenue to get that information out there.
And they said one of the things people really liked about that is that you have to verify where you live to join. So you know the people that you're talking to on there actually live in your community. So
My PD.
Now, the MyPD, as far as what kind of information is it for, just for emergencies, or is it more generally? Okay.
Just, yeah, it's everything. It
general,
can be
okay.
used for emergencies, but also just general information.
Okay,
Similar to what we post on Facebook or send out on Twitter.
Okay.
Why would anyone want to be anonymous on something like that?
I think some people might be concerned that law enforcement might use their information in a way that they wouldn't want them to. Concerned that a government entity has more information about them than they want them to have.
Okay.
or you can send a tip anonymously without.
And without, yeah.
So I'm thinking that it might be good if we even put together a flyer that has the information about how to sign up for my PD app, nextdoor.com, our emergency notification system, Facebook, Twitter, you know, and have all of those on one flyer that we can just hand to somebody and say, you know,
Pick one.
here's, pick one, pick all, pick whatever you want to do. And I'm not sure if the, what do you call those codes? For Twitter and Facebook?
The QR.
QR codes. We might even be able to get those for the app and Nextdoor.
There's websites out there with free QR code generators. You just type in like the website you wanted to go to or the information you wanted, and people can just scan it. So, yeah, something really easy to do.
Yeah, then somebody just walking by the display can just snag that and they're ready to go. So that's it for my report. Any questions?
All right, so that takes us into the constituencies poll. We'll just start on the left there, and we'll just go around and tell us what area you represent. And if you have any-
Pioneer Hill, Richard Hume. Couple of things. When Karen Kiesling asked me to join this, I thought, okay, I'm an old curmudgeon, I might as well do something for the city, and who cares? Man, we're at the center of things now. We are a microcosm of what's going on in this country. Police and community relations are given Dallas and Baton Rouge and so on. These are issues vital to the country. They just are. And we should be pleased, I think, that we're on this committee with this police department is doing a superb job. Okay. A question. I don't know the answer. With when the Dallas thing happened with the assassinated officers, I drive around Pullman a lot. I walk my dog down at City Playfield, and after I do that, I go up early in the morning, 6 o'clock, 6:30, to McDonald's. It was a Thursday that the Dallas assassinations happened, and right away the McDonald's flag at the Wheatland Center was down, and I happened to drive by Pullman Schools, and that was down, but the City Playfield flag was not down till Monday. And I don't know when the WSU flag was, the flag that on WSU I don't go by very often, but I was wondering, is there any coordination there? I mean,
There's no coordination between those entities. We generally coordinate with the state, and so we will get communication at the state level about when we should lower our flags. And so that's and we coordinate with them.
The
So
city flag was way behind.
Right. Yeah, and so
Which
we.
Which is not good. I don't.
Well, and there's actually some protocols involved in when and how you do that, and what type of organization you are sometimes governs that. And so since
But maybe there ought to be more coordination or something. I thought the flag should have gone down immediately. It's,
yeah, and that's not a decision we can make locally for a governmental organization. We have to follow the state regulations on that, and so we wait till we
okay,
hear.
after pontificating here, one mundane thing. The fence dividing separating the railroad from the jogging trail from Copple Garden to City Playfield is falling down at both sides of Benoit.
It's been driven into or something.
I don't know what's going on. It's falling down on both sides. So.
Okay. Let me just comment on the first part that you talked about, Richard. I think I've talked about this before, but sometimes it's easy to get a little bit discouraged when we have meetings and there's nobody here. And, just sometimes it seems like we don't have that much of a purpose, but exactly what Richard was talking about is having this in place, Police Advisory Committee, is vitally important. Just for when these types of things happen, or if something were to happen in our community, we already have the system set up to have representatives that interact between the public and the police department. And so, keep that in mind as you see these events happening. It's not a matter of if, it's when, something happens in Pullman that we're going to need. And we saw it with the David Warner assault. We had a lot of people from the community come to our meeting, and it really provided a really good forum for discussion and exchange of information. So I would just take that as encouragement that you really do have a vital role in the community.
Thank you for that. And I think that you should encourage us to maybe wear our new shirts even more than just events. I've kind of felt like they were just for events, but I think just as an easy advertisement there, and again, a community relation point to say, I'm a spokesperson, I'm a representative, so wear them when you run errands. But thanks.
Couple of important updates, although a lot of this, well, I think everything I would be about to say and Dan would probably say would have already been announced in the papers, but some important changes in personnel in the Pullman School District. Dr. Robert Maxwell has officially taken over as superintendent. He's been the assistant for a few years under Paul Sturm, and Paul has now retired and is living in a pretty nice place up on Spirit Lake. Everyone's there, envious of that. I really enjoyed working with Paul for the number of years that I did. The Pullman School District has hired Eric Heinz, has named Eric Heinz as the new high school principal. And I met Eric, talked to him. I think he was the number one choice. I think he was a great choice for that role. He's been a high school assistant principal at Arlington High School most recently, and he brings a family to the Pullman community and has begun, as I understand it, his official first day would have been July 1st. Pullman's also hired Dr. Roberta Kramer, who was superintendent in the Riverside School District since, I think since 2007, as our assistant superintendent. And she'll be, I think officially, normally officially would have started July 1st, but I think she'll be officially starting July 20-something. I can't remember the exact number. She's very, she knows everything there is to know about taking over that role and helping Dr. Maxwell in this transition. So those are some really good and important hires, and it's nice to have those folks in place now. It was really kind of nerve-wracking there for a while to be a little bit shorthanded in those roles. And with Eric Heinz, the position opened because Joe Thornton took was hired into a new position that constitutes part of what Dan Hornfeld was responsible for, and that's a Director of Services position. It's a new position and was a very necessary position in the Pullman School District. He'll be overseeing, among other things, transportation and maintenance and food service, and providing some guidance for those really critical needs that we have. Pullman School District is growing rapidly right now, and it's exciting to say the least. And when I started at Franklin 4 years ago, we had 340 students, and this year we peaked at 460, and we were able to house that many because of construction of 6 new classrooms in conjunction with that bond that is building the high school right now. But that's not, growth has just been pretty rampant and definitely faster than we're accustomed to on the Palouse, I think, having been around for a pretty long time. This is pretty unprecedented. 4 new classrooms are being constructed at Jefferson Elementary right now. We are starting full-day kindergarten this year, which we're very excited about, by the way. We've been working on that project all year last year. And I got to thank Dr. Maxwell for really jumping in and leading a very comprehensive approach to getting ready for something that's really a pretty different model for us and very developmentally appropriate for the kids. We're very excited about that. But it required classrooms because we were housing 2 different sections, AM and PM, in one room. Now that's one section, and so we had to grow, and so we had to move some things around. And in addition to that, the community continues to grow. A few months ago, and not long after the bond was passed for the new elementary school, Schweitzer Engineering announced that over the next 3 to 5, I think the number was 850 new positions in the next 3 to 5. None of this is lost on any of you. I know you're watching this happen, and so we're going to be pretty active in dealing with that growth as it happens in the Pullman School District. And like I said, it's exciting. It's an exciting time, and it's better to be growing than not. And, the other way around, shrinking is really painful and hard, and so we're excited about the growth, but it's going to be a real challenge keeping up with that over the next several years. So you'll hear a lot more about that, I'm sure. But we're fortunate to be working in a community like Pullman, and I tell people regularly, I think we're set up for success. We have a public that has very high expectations for us, and is at the same time, very supportive. And that those two things combined create just a great environment for working in education. It's been a terrific community to work in, and we'll continue to try to meet those expectations and stay on our game and listen and work hard to provide the best education we can for our kids and the safest environments for our kids as well. So that's what I have from the Pullman School District right now.
Question.
Yes.
Retired WSU faculty, it impresses me that WSU is stable, enrollment is growing, but they're hiring all kinds of adjunct professors at slave wages. I'm assuming that the growth comes from Schweitzer. Is that correct?
Quite a bit of it, I think, comes from Schweitzer, yeah. I don't think all of it comes from Schweitzer because we have some new industry. We have some new businesses in town and housing, providing jobs for folks and that kind of thing. But quite a bit of it, yeah. I don't know how we measure that quite.
Well, I think Schweitzer's made a big difference between Moscow and Pullman.
Yeah.
Moscow's in decline.
A little bit, yeah. It's interesting. My son, partly personal, my son graduated from the University of Idaho in business and went to work at Schweitzer Engineering in human resources back in 2005. And at that time, Schweitzer had fewer than 1,000 jobs on the Palouse, I believe. And so the number now is 3,000, more than 3,000, and that's incredible growth. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with us, and it has a lot to do with homes being built, and my neighborhood, I live out off of a Y Road. That neighborhood out there is.
Well, I was shocked. I hadn't been out there in a couple of years, and I drove by there the other day on my way to Lewiston. There's a whole new town out there.
It feels like a new town. Yeah, it's a very busy place. A lot of construction and a lot more traffic. A lot more, and that, those kinds of things really. There are a lot of things that concern the police department, obviously. Growth in different areas, and yeah, it's been exciting. I feel like Pullman is working hard to maintain its identity, though. I don't feel us turning into a different kind of town, which I guess I'm kind of selfish that that's true. I don't know. I say that with, I don't want to become a bigger place. I don't think I want to become a larger, more impersonal place or whatever. I'd like to support that.
I don't think we can.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I don't. Marcy Gilliland, Pullman High Parent Representative. I do not have anything to report.
I'm Eric Tetzoff, business alternate. I don't really have anything to report, but I'm just curious as far as the whole culture, what's going on in the country, like some of the police officers getting killed and stuff. And do you know if or how much that's affecting officers here, or?
Well, that's kind of a hard question to answer. In fact,
Yeah.
KLEW interviewed me today on that topic, and it's just, I think officers definitely have a heightened awareness about when they're responding to calls and when they're out in the public. We have a very supportive community here, and there's been a lot of outpouring of support for us. But that's not to say that the job isn't without risk. We just have to look to last year and see in Coeur d'Alene, an officer that was killed less than 10 years ago, an officer in Moscow. So we know it can happen here. And so, I think officers have a little bit heightened awareness, but the positive side of that is just the outpouring of support that we've seen. And I think that really helps, I think, bind the community together even stronger. So there's a good part of that.
Yeah. Does that help their morale probably a lot, that community?
It does,
support?
yeah. No, and if people wonder if that makes any difference at all, it really does.
Awesome. Well, my name is Berto Sorello. I'm the WSU representative, and it's summertime up there. We have a new president on campus. Everyone, I think, is just getting settled where the new year is going to be taking us, but the new students come here in just a few weeks, and everyone comes back around the same time, so it's quiet for a few more moments. But other than that, I don't have much of a report. I think we're eager for everyone to return.
Well, as an old duffer and a faculty retiree, I go up 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and have coffee there. I find these WSU Alive things with these young people coming through, just immensely reassuring.
They're good.
Good place, and these are good kids.
We get the chance to communicate with them as well and talk to them about what we do, and I would agree with you. I mean, definitely they're coming in with some unique perspectives. They're growing up in times that we didn't grow up with thinking like they think, and it's nice to see where their minds are at as they look at the issues that we're talking about here and elsewhere in our world. And I feel lucky that I get to be with them on a day-to-day basis and work with
They're
them.
naive and they're idealistic, and that's wonderful.
It's fun. It's fun. I don't want to change that. That's for sure.
Justin, business representative. We had the boil water notice, I think, beginning of last month. And
Yeah.
it sounds like most people in town heard about it first from the Pullman Police Department Facebook page. So I'm also a member on the Health Department Advisory Committee. And the Health Department didn't even know about it until they saw the Facebook post by the police department. They were supposed to be notified way earlier, not by the police department, but they found out about it from the Facebook page. So great job there. I did get a question there that they wanted me to ask you guys. Is that something that would fall under the emergency notification system that you guys have? Is that something that could have been used?
Absolutely. We kind of debriefed that and determined that we should have used that emergency notification system, because we could have directed those calls to the specific geographical area that was impacted by that, and could have reached a lot more people. Although the sign up at the time was fairly low, and we issued a press release shortly after that promoting the notification system in light of this boil water notice, and as a result, we had a lot of signups after that.
Yeah, good.
Cool.
So we use it to our advantage, and we definitely have that ready to go if we have a similar event. In fact, we had a water main break maybe 3 weeks ago at Maine and over by the Armory, and we were monitoring that to see if we needed it, it was going to be a similar situation, and it turned out it wasn't, and the impact was very low, repair was quick, the water wasn't contaminated, but we were ready to do the notifications again on that and using the notification system.
Cool. Yeah, just great job on the Facebook post.
Yeah, and I've received compliments just about everywhere I go from people about our social media, and so it's mostly to do with Darby, because she's right on top of it and does a great job.
Phyllis Stahlkopf, I'm Sunnyside Hill, and I have nothing to report from my neighborhood, but kind of in reference to what Marcy said about the shirts, I was just thinking about that, but if you did wear them to the grocery store or to work or whatever, people are going to think, that's interesting, and they're going to ask maybe a question about it, and maybe we would fill in a few empty chairs here.
I'd also like to add that if you're wearing your shirt around town, have some of those cards with you.
Great idea.
I'm sorry.
If you're going to wear your police advisory shirt around town, make sure you have some of those little cards that we used at the last booth available.
Especially you don't have a lot of time to talk.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you show up at Domino's in one.
Yeah, is there a discount?
We can work something out.
That sounds like an incentive.
And thank you, Justin, again for the bicycle helmet award program. That's been really popular. Darby's posted some pictures on Facebook. And
Yeah,
really
that's
appreciate
cool.
your support on that.
Yeah, it's been fun. We're glad to do it. So,
Good for Dom.
all right.
I have a quick question. How was the 4th of July?
4th of July, law enforcement-wise, went really smooth. We were a little bit down on fireworks-related calls. I think we had 24 last year, we had 20 last year and 16 this year, so we're down a little bit. We had a few more fires as a result of fireworks that the fire department had to handle, and we assisted on. There was some concern because of the wind on the night of 4th of July too, and it turned out that everything turned out okay. So all in all, it was a pretty safe 4th.
All right. So nothing else, and it doesn't look like we have any public hiding behind the sign. So next meeting is Monday, August 8th at 5:30 p.m. I guess we're ready to adjourn, and if there's a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned.